In the wake of the passing of Ozzy Osbourne a week ago today, a lot of the mainstream media has gone back and looked at this moment back when George W. Bush was the president, hosting the White House Correspondents' Dinner that May 4th, 2002, not long after 9/11, and him having Ozzy Osbourne in attendance, and him giving a salute to Ozzy Osbourne. And real quick, I'm just going to play a clip of this to avoid copyright, but just this quick moment. Look at for the few words that he had to remember here. He had to look down at the page first. Classic George W. Bush. Right here.
Ozzy, Mom loves your stuff.
Yeah, hilarious. Anyway, Ozzy, Mom loves your stuff. And of course, you know, Ozzy did the song Mr. Crowley in regards to Aleister Crowley, the famous occultist who worshiped the number 93. And there's the longtime rumor that the father of Barbara Bush, the mother of George W. Bush, as in Mom, or Ozzy, Mom loves your stuff. But his mother, the rumor is that Aleister Crowley is her actual father. And of course, George W. Bush would have had a sister who died. She died on the eve of Aleister Crowley's birthday anniversary. We'll go back and look at that. I want you to see how perfect this ritual was, though, in light of his father leaving the Oval Office at 93 and Aleister Crowley worshiping number 93. So this White House Correspondents' Dinner was on May 4th, and quite fitting because Bush had won the 54th election, May 4th, 5-4, but May 4th is the 124th day of the year, and 124 is the 93rd composite number. And that line, Ozzy, Mom loves your stuff, Gematria of 93. And as we covered before, Barbara Bush, who Mom is, also equates to 93. And of course, Barbara Bush died right before her 93rd birthday, meaning she did die in her 93rd year of life, didn't quite make it to 93. For anyone who forgets how Mom died, she died 52 days before her birthday. NWO equals 52, which is the abbreviation for New World Order. And New World Order equates to 174. She died on the 17th of April, 17/4. Of course, her husband, George H.W. Bush, he used to talk about that New World Order quite often. So anyhow, this is the beginning of this. On the 124th day of the year, he says that to Ozzy Osbourne, who did the song about Aleister Crowley, who worshiped 93. And if you go back in history, you can see that his sister, Robin Bush, died October 11th, 1953. George W. would have been 7 years old at the time. Of course, Aleister Crowley had a number of books with 7 in the title. Well, one was 77 and the other with 3 sevens, 777. George W. Bush was born July 6, 1946, the same year Clinton was born, the same year Trump was born, the year before the CIA was created. But yeah, I have this older post. I was working on this in the hours after George Herbert Walker Bush's death was announced. And remember who told you Herbert Walker Bush wasn't going to make it past November 30th, age 94, and he sure didn't. Called that out months in advance. Called it out the day John McCain died, if you want to go back and look. But again, the day that H.W. and Barbara Bush lost their daughter, Pauline Robin Bush, it was a date with 93 numerology. The lesser date numerology was also 39. 93, 39. Barbara Bush equals 93 with the alphabetic order. 39 with the alphabetic order in numerology. Again, a Thelema, the occult religion, worships the number 93. And notice how Crowley invented that religion in 1904. It's 121 years later. Crowley died on December 1st, 121. Now Ozzy's dead 121 years later. We're going to come back to that because since I covered Ozzy's death, I realized the greater 121 piece with the religion of Thelema, which we'll come back to. Barbara Bush, her birthday was 6/8. 93 is the 68th composite number. It might remind you of the 93 World Trade Center bombing for the buildings where construction began in 68. It might also remind you that the day of 9/11, you had Flight 93 involved. 93, this very special number to the occult. Barbara Bush dead at 92. It's funny because Ozzy equals 92. But yeah, she was just days from turning 93. And again, the date of that White House Correspondence Center, just so you can see with your own eyes, May 4th, 2002. W, his birthday, 7-6. And 76 is the 54th composite number. He's a member of Skull and Bones like his father. Skull and Bones is modeled after the Bavarian Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit, yada, yada, yada. You know that spiel. But again, Skull and Bones, 76, 54th composite number. Skull and Bones member wins the 54th election. Skull and Bones modeled after the Illuminati, which was founded in Bavaria, which also equals 54. And notice from Crowley's birthday anniversary to that ritual, his birthday anniversary, I should say. His birthday anniversary, from Crowley's birthday anniversary to the shout out to Barbara Bush, 204 days later. Again, if you're new here, these are the base ciphers of the English language. The alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. You can see that her name in reverse is 204. Her supposed father, Crowley, who Ozzy Osbourne made the song about. Keep in mind, this White House Correspondence Dinner was on a Saturday, the day of the week named after Saturn. Saturn equates to 93. Saturnian order equals 93. Saturn worship equates to 78. Jewish mysticism equates to 204 and 93. Within Jewish mysticism is Kabbalah, which is where gematria comes from, the practice of coding numbers into words. And Ozzy was Jewish, Ozzy Osbourne. He identified as Christian, though, so he was born Jewish, but apparently became a Christian. And it's crazy how many people online are accusing him of being a Satanist. It's like, have any of these people actually looked into the lyrics of his music? Because he sang about, evil being a bad thing, and he sang about, have you thought about, like preserving your soul for the afterlife? I mean, his music was very Christian inspired. It's kind of crazy to see these Christians who don't really know anything just come to these false conclusions and accusations as showing that really what they are. Morons. Anyway, yeah, he might have been known as the Prince of Darkness. Their sound might have been, kind of scary, but if you actually look at the lyrics that Ozzy sang in a lot of his music, you could say it was definitely Christian inspired. So, from Ozzy's birthday to that ritual was, did I forget it? Did I forget to put the screenshot here? It looks like I forgot to put the screenshot here, but it was the 153rd day of his age. I can just plug that in real quick so you can see. His birthday is December 3rd. Would have been December 3rd, 2001 to May 4th, 2002, 152 days later, or a span of 153 days. The 152 days later is also interesting because the word Pennsylvania is 152, and that's the address for the White House. But 153rd day of his age on 5-4. Big numbers with the Jesuits, 54, 153. Big numbers with the Illuminati, also biblical numbers, of course, too. Holy Bible's 153. Miraculous catch of 153 fish. But the Illuminati's 153, founded in Bavaria, 54 forwards and backwards. And then another thing that stood out to me is the OTO, which Aleister Crowley became the head of in 1925, 100 years ago. Now, Ozzy's dead 100 years later. And I looked up what date Crowley became the head of the OTO. It was June 21st, 1925. But the OTO is this thing, it's really complex. You have to look into it. It incorporates ideas from Freemasonry, all of the world of the occult, and obviously gets its symbolism from Templars. Remember, the Templar fingerprints are all over the 9/11 ritual, especially the invasion of Afghanistan after on the day leaving 85 days left in the year when Templar equals 95. Or I misspoke. Templar equals 85. The Jesuit motto is Sus Hominum Salvator equals 85. The Jesuit order's logo is the sun with the Templar cross and the IHS for Sus Hominum Salvator. Bush who was a member of Skull and Bones. They get their symbolism from how the Templars buried their dead and are modeled after the Illuminati, which was founded by a Jesuit when the Jesuits are the modern day Templars. So Aleister Crowley was the leader of this offshoot occult order, the OTO. And I just noticed Ordo Templi Orientis, the actual name of that order, 236, from September 11th, the event that led to the Crusades in the Middle East. And don't forget that Bush referred to it as a crusade. 236 days. And OTO, the abbreviation is 31. May 4th, 2002 was a date with 31 numerology. And keep in mind, 31 is the 11th prime, like all the 11s on 9/11. Also, from Bush taking office to that White House Correspondents' Dinner was 470 days. The key digits there being 47, big number with the presidency, with authority, but also similar to the year that Crowley died, 47. Crowley died right after they drew up the borders for Israel on 9/3. Remember, from the day of the drawing of the borders of Israel to Crowley's death was 89 days later. Aleister Crowley equals 89, like religion, like chaos. And obviously a religious nation that has brought a lot of chaos into the world. 89 is also the 11th Fibonacci number. Crowley wrote a lot about 11 as well. And he made a religion about 93, but he definitely wrote about a lot of numbers and has multiple books on the topic of gematria. But yeah, just these jokes that have been going on all this time right in front of our face. And again, how these people can lie for such evil agendas that cause so many problems in the world and then just go before the public and tell jokes about it like it's nothing. It shows you the level of confidence they have in their ability to pull these things off and how they don't expect the general public to catch on to anything or do a thing about it. And again, look at our efforts over here for 12 years, just dropping the undeniable day after day, and the majority of people look at it and just think it's a complete load of shit, and then turn the TV back on and just go right back to swallowing the lies from the people who've done nothing but lie to them their whole lives. That's what mind control looks like. I'm going to scroll through this Ozzy post. Again, if you missed my work on it, you should go back and watch. But a lot to Ozzy's death by the numbers. But I want to bring in a new piece of information here. And keep in mind, Ozzy just died at 76, right? Ozzy just died at 76 in light of that ritual by the guy born on 7/6. Yeah, a lot here to Ozzy's death. And just a reminder about these parts, though. Ozzy died 82 days before Crowley's birthday anniversary. Black Sabbath 82. Thelema 82, the occult religion that worships 93. Also 132 days for his death anniversary, like Mr. Crowley's 132, like Sabbath's first album came out on 13/2, like England's 132, like United States of America's 132, like there's 132 rooms in the White House, etc., etc. This was the 78th anniversary of Crowley's death. Again, that 78 factored in with the ritual of Bush's joke, as we just covered. And also from the anniversary of the beginning of recording Mr. Crowley on 322, like Skull and Bones' Order 322. From that day to his death, 123 days, like Ozzy Osbourne, who has the December 3rd, 123 birthday. Jack Black, again, did a cover of Mr. Crowley on July 6th, 7/6, right before Ozzy died at 76. And then Ozzy dies 47 weeks into his age, like Crowley died in 47. Ozzy Osbourne, 66, the 47th composite number. Jack Black with that 54 connection. Again, Ozzy's last post had the music to Mr. Crowley, his last social media post. Crowley was known as the wickedest man in the world, which equals 288. Like Jack Black's birthday is 28/8, the 28th of August. But right here's what I want to get to. The law of Thelema. This idea in Crowley's work. The law of Thelema, the phrase law of Thelema, 121, like Crowley died on December 1st. Now, Ozzy's dead 121 years after he wrote it in 1904. And law of Thelema the other way is 203. Ozzy just died on the 203rd day of the year. Again, his last social media post, the music to Mr. Crowley. Give my blood sacrifices 121. That's the point I always made before about just Crowley dying on that day, but I was missing this Law of Thelema piece. So, and then again, you look at the OTO, it's got the Templar cross in the logo, which makes sense. It's got the Eye of Horus, the dove. I'd have to study that symbolism more. The Templar cross, though, is easily understood inside the apple. And they are 130 years old right now. Human sacrifice equals 130 as Ozzy dies. Yeah. Yeah, again, there's a lot more here. If you missed the work on Ozzy, go back and check it out. It was pointed out to me that Ozzy and Sharon were born exactly 201 weeks apart, going with Ozzy biting the head off the bat on the 201st day of the U.S.'s age in Des Moines, Iowa, and now his daughter's married to the Slipknot player from Des Moines, Iowa, who celebrated his 5th birthday the same day that Ozzy bit the head off the bat when years ago Meatloaf with Bat Out of Hell died on that day, and that was in the time when Cooties 19 was going on after the Event 201 simulation, and they were saying it came from a bat. Yeah, from the day Ozzy retired, along with Tom Brady when the Patriots play his music, to his death, 903 days, Prince of Darkness, 93. I forgot to add that in with just the whole 93 thing going on with Ozzy being there, as Bush says that mom loves his music. Yeah, and again, you know, the official name of the Cooties when it first began was also a 93 thing, how they brought Ozzy in with that. Again, the 93 film Falling Down, which came out the day of the World Trade Center bombing, when Michael Douglas tears up the Asian man's market saying that inflation's out of control. They got a street sign in the store that says Corona. Think about it, you guys. 27 years before the whole thing went into motion. 27 years, the ritual number. Living scripts planned out decades in advance is what we are doing as humanity right now. And again, you show this to your friends and family, and the majority of them write it off in a second, and then they wonder why. Life is. Again, some people are just so flustered with life right now. Like I said, 2/3 of the country's on a drug for their head, whether it's anxiety, depression, psychotic. 2/3 of the country, guys. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people in this country. It's 250 million people on drugs for their head because they're not happy with the way the country is. And then they don't actually want to look into things that led us to this place that has so many people so unhappy and frustrated with life. There are consequences for behaviors. Ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is causing some major problems. Yeah, and again, just Dio died 201 days from Ozzy's birthday. Looks like I continue to forget to put that screenshot in there. I'll go back and get that in there, but yeah, okay. So we covered this to death, and there is a lot to this post. Man, last week, man, it was a busy week. Last week was there was no rest from my birthday week. Oh yeah, there was even another. Yeah, you just got to wonder, from the death of the last pope, the last pope, the first Jesuit, was also born during Saturnalia, Saturn 93. From his death to Ozzy's death, again, just big characters on the world stage, the type of people that get to meet the president. 93 days. Makes you wonder. And don't forget what they did with Black Sabbath being named after this horror movie where the main character is Rosie. And then the same day that Ozzy was announced dead, the royal family let us know that a member of their family had been accidentally shot and killed, and her name was Rosie. And that film runs 93 minutes. Film runs 93 minutes. Yeah, and then this right here too, just that Ozzy did this podcast and died 666 days later. Satan, Bilderberg Group, and the Illuminati. Again, Bilderberg equals 55 like Satan. Satan the other way equals 80 like Bavarian Illuminati. Mark of the Beast equals 54. The first Bilderberg meeting in 54. Bavaria equals 54. Just kind of how it all comes together. Again, Ozzy dead at 76, the 54th composite number. Yeah, this thing with Willem Dafoe, who played Mr. Osbourne, dead on his 70th birthday, the first Sabbath album in 70. Anyway, just so many layers to it, but I really wanted to hit the 93 piece. And again, Aleister Crowley, dead right after Israel's drawn up as a nation on 9/3. Tisha B'Av, which is mostly connected to Israel this year, falls on August 2nd and 3rd. It begins 8/2. It'll be the 666th day of the war in Israel. And hold on, I'm on the wrong slide. That does matter what I just had up there. But I also got to make a correction. The eclipse of August 2nd, it's not this year. It's 2 years from now, August 2nd, 2027. But there's a lot of attention to this in the news right now, just before August 2nd, Tisha B'Av. And the reason it's getting so much attention is because it's going to be such a long eclipse. It's going to be the longest eclipse, I think, until the year 2141. So over 100 years from now that it'll be that long again. But anyway, yeah, that eclipse is not this August 2nd. Still, this August 2nd is the 666th day of the war. It is Tisha B'Av, and it is the real Black Sabbath. Again, Ozzy's dead 11 days before the day. Black is 11. Look at, again, Black Sabbath and Tisha B'Av. 82, 28. Ozzy just died 82 days before Crowley's birthday, who died right as Israel was in the works to become a nation, and they just had to draw it up on 9/3. Ozzy was born Jewish. Ozzy became a Christian, you'd have to think, based on his own words. He wears the cross, very Christian lyrics in a lot of his songs. Again, I'd challenge any of you people out there saying that he's a definite Satanist. Again, these guys might have all sold their soul. I mean, doesn't Sabbath, don't they either have a song or an album that we sold our soul for rock and roll? So, don't get it twisted. But isn't that the whole thing with you Christians? Like, you can do all this bad, but then if you just accept Jesus into your life and ask for forgiveness, then all is forgiven. Anyway, yeah, I just see a lot of people coming out and saying, "Oh, yeah, good riddance to that Satanist," and it's just like, and they're very Christian channels. Like, have these people listened to his music? Because you could argue that Sabbath is the original Christian rock band, and that's no exaggeration. Anyway, yeah, there's no way this is an accident, and we've had this date circled for a long time. The first clue that Tisha B'Av was going to be wild this year was when that club collapsed in the Dominican Republic, and they coded 83 all over it. A massive building collapses, full of people, a lot of deaths. Octavio Dotel was there, whose first MLB season he went 8-3. He did that with the Mets, and Juan Soto, the Mets, had celebrated that club after signing the record contract. New York, 2 temples, 2 towers. I'll remind you, in the Jewish cipher, again, Derek renamed it Latin. Look at the 9/11s in this cipher. Oh, interesting. Freddie Mercury, Divine Feminine. That's not what I was looking for, but Division. Oh, World Economic Forum is 911. Go figure. I didn't realize that. Tisha B'Av is there. Al-Qaeda terrorist attack is there. Vatican Hill is there. Jihadist is there. I mean, there's a lot of things that are interesting. Ossuary. Remember, ossuary is how the Templars buried their dead, and that's where Skull and Bones gets their symbolism from. Like, you had the Skull and Bones president, 11 years to the day of 9/11, talk about a new world order, free or a tear. World Trade Centers come down in terrorism. Synced up with Hulk Hogan, too. Hulk Hogan dies right after Ozzy. And Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage in 89, the mega powers defeated the Twin Towers. They weren't going to stop until the towers came crumbling down. Mean Gene going, those terrorist attacks. And again, Big Boss Man, Police State, and a guy dressed up as a Muslim are the Twin Towers. But yeah, a lot of interesting 9/11s here. 11 o'clock, that's interesting. If you've ever seen Rosemary's Baby, which came out in 68, the same year 911 was made the emergency dialing code, If you've never seen Rosemary's Baby, you should watch that movie. It's about a guy in the entertainment field who wants to make it, so he has to make a deal with the devil. Every time they have to meet up, they meet at 11. They always meet at 11 in the movie. 11, 11, 11. So, yeah, we hit the main 9/11 numbers there. I'm looking at some of these other ones. Some of this stuff obviously doesn't matter, but it's hard to deny Al-Qaeda terrorist attack jihadists, Tisha B'Av, again, to remember the destruction of the two temples. And here's the thing about Tisha B'Av. In what we call the base ciphers, it has that 44 connection. Or hold on, I take it back. It's the English translation, which is 9th of Av. It has the 44 connection. And Tisha B'Av 2001 dates July 28th and July 29th. So September 11th, from when Tisha B'Av, let's see, July 29th, 2001 to September 11th, 2001. Oh, not the end date. From when Tisha B'Av ended to when 9/11 happened, 44 days later. And remember, the 9th of Av is 9/11 on the Jewish calendar as well. So think about that too. Think about that. Also, if you look, there's two different music videos for Ozzy's song Mama, I'm Coming Home. You'll know when you're watching the right one. The right one seems to have some pretty obvious symbolism in predictive programming for 9/11. So now the Cosby Show, I'm just thinking about the three actors who all died in 201 rituals within days of each other, whose ages all added up to 201, like the Twin Towers were 2 before they became 0, before they became 1. I don't exactly know where the Cosby Show would fit in other than it ran 201 episodes. A part of me wonders, though, is there some kind of predictive programming somewhere in the Cosby Show? There very well might have been, since they stuck it all over the place. But Ozzy, he fits in because, Bush, Crowley, Thelema, those numbers being all over the 9/11 ritual, the 93 bombing, Flight 93, all that. Hulk, obviously, is the most obvious. A part of me wonders if there's something with the Cosby Show that's been overlooked. We're coming up on this 24th anniversary. And again, Hulk with the 24-inch pythons dead on the 24th, 49 days before the anniversary of 9/11 when Twin Towers equals 49. Again, him and Randy Savage defeated the Twin Towers. World Trade Center 247, Hulk dead on 24/7. All right. Also, community had some great observations on the shooting in Manhattan. 44 date numerology, the day of mass shootings again and again. This building that got shot up on the 44 date, remember the first mass shooting of the day was in Nevada. The second one's in New York, and they said the shooter was from Nevada. There was another shooting on some vacation islands on the same day. They said the first mass shooting on those islands. But on this 44 date numerology, we get 3 mass shootings in the news, and what I overlooked is this building is 44 stories tall. 44 stories. On the image of the shooter's permit, his license to own a weapon, his name is Shane D. Tamura on there, 44. Like shooting, like mass shooter, like gunfire, like military, like officer, like department. This happened in New York, Trump's hometown, 44 days after his birthday. Again, the shooting permit has the same birthday date as Trump, and it's Trump's 76th birthday that the shooting permit's dated, June 14th, 2022, the day Trump would have turned 76. The head of the New York police, the police commissioner, is the New York Giants football owner. They're saying this shooter went to shoot up the NFL office, but took the wrong elevator and ended up on the 33rd floor where he offed himself. But yeah, Jessica Tish, the Giants owner's daughter, 44. And I noticed that from her taking her post, November 25th, 2024, to the shooting, 245 days, which is the 191st composite number. 191 is the 43rd prime. As you can see, active shooter is 191, but 191 being the 43rd prime, football equals 43, and this happened 43 days before the NFL season begins on September 4th. They're saying this guy, you could have also said it's 245 days after she took her post. You could also say the 246th day of her post. And Rudin Management, where this guy's life ended. We'll come back to the 159. It's actually the more important one. The 246 is also there, though. The story ends on the 33rd floor on the 240, or in the office that has a gematria value of 246. Remember, 33, highest degree of the Scottish Rites. All these 33s. 330 days after Eric Adams' birthday. Again, here's his permit. Shane D. Tamura, dated June 14, 2022. We covered all this yesterday. They had to say this was the 254th mass shooting in Manhattan. Like 9/11 happened on the 254th day of the year. We just talked about how Hulk died 254 days after the Superior General's birthday in light of that 9/11 predictive programming. But hold on. But we caught this last night, too, that the officer who was killed is from Bangladesh and was part of the 47th precinct, and his last name is Islam, after we just got Mom Donnie at age 33 as the primary winner on Modern Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th. This guy's name has the 123 and 51 like conspiracy, 51 like mass shooting. The building's on 51st and 52nd Street. 201 and 84, just goes without saying, big Jesuit numbers. And they're saying, oh, here's Mom Donnie who wants to defund police. You want more stories like this in New York? I mean, just such obvious ritualism. But here's the piece that was an awesome find by the community. Shout out to the community. So this guy came from Nevada. He's part Japanese. He's part black. It was the 159th anniversary of Buffalo Soldiers Day in Nevada. And of course, in the NFL, you want to go to the NFL league office, you do have a New York team called the Buffalo Bills. Remember, Trump wanted to buy the Bills and he got rejected, and instead they sold it to the other 201 guy. And now they have a 201 head coach. And anyway, the Giants do open the preseason versus the Bills. Again, the head of the police, her father owns the Giants. But the 159th anniversary of Black Americans after the Civil War ended being allowed to enlist in the military in Nevada. 159th anniversary. Scottish Rite 159. Donald Trump 159. Remember last year Trump had all the rituals with the Secret Service while the Secret Service was 159 years old, including the hoax on the 15th of September on his golf course. Rudin Management, where this guy ends his life on the 33rd floor. Again, the highest degree of the Scottish Rite, 33. American football credited to Walter Camp, the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. Rudin Management, 159. 159 days after Roger Goodell's birthday. 201 days from Steve Tish's birthday. You know what I mean? The Jesuit order of the Scottish Rite, they share the motto Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. Now the guy's mad he has CTE, the thing they've associated with football. Here's the other thing I hate about this, you guys. Growing up, football, it was a lot tougher sport, right? Just way tougher sport. You were allowed to destroy a man on the field. There weren't all these penalties for all these vicious kinds of hits, and that's what the NFL was about. Back then, the gear they had wasn't nearly as good. Now they have all this super advanced gear that absorbs so much of the hit. They can hardly hit each other. And now we're in the era where everyone's got CTE. It just, like, does anybody have a brain? Does any of this make any sense? The other year, you got the former 49er supposedly killing a family in the middle of the night by the Masonic code, as we covered then, and then they blamed it on CTE. Like, wait a minute. I mean, when were football players ever murdering families in the night because they got hit hard on the field? Please. No, notice all of this shit's going on in the 21st century. Just the police state, the super dumbing down of society, making people very effeminate. Again, they're essentially creating a people that just will never fight back. Just a society, for lack of a better word, pussies. And anyway, yeah. So those are the big observations. And yeah, the NFL preseason going to open up on August 9th, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. Giants and Bills face each other after this ritual with the Buffalo. and the police commissioner who's the daughter of the Giants owner. I mean, it's just... and just in case you don't know this, Buffalo Bills ownership. I was talking about this stuff when I was back in Buffalo for the mass shooting. Terry Pagula. Terrence Michael Pagula is his name. Terrence Michael Pagula, 201, right? And McDermott. Let's see. What is it? Is he spelled like this, Sean? Sean McDermott. Sean Michael McDermott. So that's the owner of the Bills, and this is the coach of the Bills. Sean Michael McDermott, 201. Bills gonna play Giants. Shooting 201 days from the Giants owner's birthday. Oh, man. Same stuff day after day. And also, shout out to Eric in the community. Eric actually called me up last week, you guys. Eric's from Chicago. He has some connections on the ground. Eric told me on the phone last week that Ryan Sandberg had died on my birthday, July 21st, which, keep in mind, was the last day of Cancer. And Cancer, the water sign, that's the day we got the news of the drowning of Malcolm Jamal Warner. Obviously, they didn't announce that he died last Monday. They said he died yesterday, a Monday later. We wonder how these celebrity deaths can be so perfect. They announced it on the 44 date numerology on a Monday, Moon Day. The moon's ruled by Cancer, so it kind of fits, even though we're in the period of Leo. On the same day that they tell you the Dion Cancer story. And as we talked about, they saved it for 132 days after the MLO season began. We covered all this yesterday. Ryan Sandberg, 132, like Catholic Church, like Roman Catholic, like how the head of the Catholic Church went to school in Philly and is from Chicago, and Sandberg played for the Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. And it's more connected than that. But again, I talked about how he died 313 days after his birthday, which is the 65th prime, and he died at 65. And 65 is what we call Philadelphia, the 65 city. You just saw the Chiefs lose to Philadelphia in their 65th season. And again, just knowing that it runs forwards and backwards. Andy Reid used to coach Philadelphia. He picked up his 61st loss with the Chiefs, losing to Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. But yeah, here I'm getting to this even more exact piece. I know we covered a lot of this yesterday, but I got one new piece of information. Again, he died 81 days after the Pope's birthday, or on the 82nd day of the Pope's age. He started with Philly in 81, played for the Cubs in 82, and played for the Cubs for the rest of his career, Chicago, Illinois, 82. I mean, just how perfectly scripted this is. R.I.P. For all you good Catholics, why are they sacrificing people for your man at the top? But Ryan D. Sandberg, his full name, 79. The day before his announced death, the Cubs and White Sox finish off the All-Chicago series, and that they're now tied at 79 apiece on 79 date numerology. The day after that, they announced the death. And how many sports and entertainment deaths have I now covered with the 79 connection, including Hulk Hogan last week, since the 79th NBA season ended? This has been a major theme of all these athletes with the 79 connection dying ever since the 79th NBA season concluded, won by the Thunder, who were the Sonics, who won it in 79, and they beat Indiana like Larry Bird lost in the college championship in 79, who's from Indiana. And again, the power of this knowledge, understanding that they do it by numbers. That's why before the season began, we had the Thunder to win the finals out of the West, or Boston to win the finals out of the East. We were looking at the Larry Bird connection. I was thinking it was going to go for Boston, but instead it went for his home state, Indiana. Now, granted, understanding the knowledge, we saw that the Knicks were going to beat Boston before the series began. So we got our money back and then some, because the Knicks were a nice payout. But yeah, again, year after year, we put these futures in at the start of the year, and we cash. And again, it's because the game's rigged. But here's the new piece. The news broke that Ryan Sandberg had cancer on January 23rd, 2024. They announced his death exactly 79 weeks later. And we know what equals 79 too. Murder. Murder is 79. And we know what else equals 79. Society of Jesus. The ones who gave us the language and the calendar and set up the system. And Sandberg is from Spokane, which is where, one of the 27 remaining Jesuit universities is, Gonzaga. So, yeah, I wanted to get those pieces in here tomorrow, or today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow, just so you guys know, I will be on the Occult Rejects, and you guys might like this channel. They don't get enough viewership. they constantly have guests on, and they're constantly talking all things occult related. They really do deserve more viewership. They get a lot of interesting guests. The Occult Rejects, if you want to give them a sub, I'm doing a stream with them tomorrow night. It starts 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. They normally start earlier than that, but I told them that was the earliest I could start. So they're going to start later than normal for me. Maybe they'll start the show early and I'll join them in the middle of the show. I don't know, but I told them that's when I could come on. Nick, who is the head of the Occult Rejects, he came on our show some months back and invited me on, and we're finally going to do it tomorrow. But yeah, a lot of knowledgeable people go on there. And like I said, they deserve more subs. So if you want to give them a shout, the Occult Rejects, I'll drop their link in the chat. But yeah, I will be joining them tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. That is Wednesday, July 30th. Thank you, the Beth Rosman, for the big 2. Thank you again, Leper Messiah, for your continued generosity. Dropped 5 and said, hit that like. We're at 132 likes with over 300 watching. And Carrie Barnes also chipped in too. I got to get Sweet Girl in about 10 minutes. So for the next 10 minutes, we can take some calls. Let me open the phone line here. If you guys want to phone in, it is that 509 number on the screen, and the line is open and it's all connected, so we're ready to go. If you can be on topic, that would be appreciated, or if there's something big buzzing that I'm missing right now and you want to put that on my radar, that is also welcome. Again, the number is on the screen, the one that says 509-560-4982. The feds have to use resources to go out to Nevada to search for why this guy shot up the NFL league office. Yeah. Let's see here. What's up, 917?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I did not notice that it was the 254th mass shooting of the year.
Yeah. I covered that one last night.
It was 200, and it was 254 days since the commissioner, the owner of the Giants, took office. The commissioner. That's crazy. You follow?
No, what happened? What was the 254 days?
Is it 254 days since she took office from November? You said?
No, it was 245 days.
Oh, 245 days. All right. I thought it was but okay. But don't you see that it's all related? If people don't see that, I mean, come on. This is like I live in New York is Gotham City. You literally have the Giants owner. The Giants owner is the freaking commissioner. Call Batman. You understand?
I do understand that. Yeah.
This is crazy. And then she's in with the whole. She was the one that set up the whole surveillance program in New York. You understand? You follow?
Sure.
Like this is crazy, but phenomenal decode. Thank you, Zach.
All right, appreciate it. Don't forget that the day Ozzy died, the media that same day began focusing on Epstein being at Trump's 93 wedding, his 93 wedding. Ozzy, Prince of Darkness 93, Crowley, worshiping 93. This, again, the Oval Office again connected to this occultist. What's up, Joey? Joey.
Yo. Yesterday on the day leaving 156 days left in the year, the Yankees threw 156 pitches in the game.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
And of course, you write out the word 33 and it equals 156. But regarding Roger Goodell, his birthday's 19/2. Of course, you talk about 192 in NFL a lot because in Sumerian Gematria, NFL equals 192. Tonight, Max Fried is starting for the Yankees. It's 192 days after Max Fried's birthday. Or you could say the 193rd day of his age, the 44th prime. So
Okay.
they have it so fucking perfect. It's just mind-blowing. There's Fried's on 84 wins in his career. 85 is the big NFL number. So I guess we'll see what happens in that game. But also I know this isn't a Patreon stream, but it's related to like the shooting. Because Las Vegas NV, how you would write it on a envelope, it equals 58 and 148. The Yankees can get their 58th win and 148th win at home against the Rays all time. So it's ridiculous. And just that people won't wake up. They're just too busy with their like daily lives and stuff like that, I guess. But
They're not too busy
thanks for the
because these
work.
people sit around and watch Netflix and rig sports games all day. They're not too busy. They're at the mall on the weekends. It's just they don't want to know anything. They just want to complain about things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the work, Zach, and thanks for taking my call, and just keep up the great work. Peace.
All right, man. Appreciate it. All right, take care. I think I mentioned it last night how Blackstone is also in that building with the New York shooting. And remember the supposed Trump assassin, the kid, he appeared in the commercial for Blackstone.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, I mentioned last time about that Ozzy or the Selima book, Liber 77.
Right.
Also Liber Oz. Ozzy was in his 77th year of life.
True.
Israel's 77.
Yep.
Liber Oz has gematria of 666. And I've also looked at that in the past with the whole Flight 77.
Yep.
And the whole Pentagon with the goat and the pentagram and all that.
Yep.
But looking at the OTO logo, it's like a total fertility symbol. And how that connects to 9/11 is, the new transportation hub / mall in New York, the Oculus.
Right.
Did you walk past that?
Well, we went inside of it. Yeah, I definitely saw it. You're like inside of a big eye.
If you look at the Selena, it's the eye, the dove, and then the chalice with the vesic surrounding the vesic Pisces being the womb. And there's a certain angle that if you're standing in front of the Hilton, the Millennium Hilton, that's what it's called, right across the street.
Right.
If you're standing right there, looking at the World Trade Center, the phallus with the feminine, going with that divine feminine equaling 911. And if you look at the anagram the monogram for Ave Maria that the Catholic Church uses, the A over the M, it also makes out the Roman numerals 911.
Right. Yeah.
Going with that divine feminine Ave Maria. And then, all saying I 119, and the Oculus 119, 119.
Yeah. Yeah. 9/11 was a total huge Thelemic ritual. Did you know that, did you ever notice that Tower 3 had 22 stories?
What is that? They had 22 stories?
At the World Trade Center, the original World Trade Center.
The original World Trade Center was
I
only
think it was
22 stories tall?
The Tower 3. I think it was the hotel.
Tower 3. I see. Yeah,
Three
Tower
had
3,
22.
22 stories tall. Yeah, 322. Go figure. Okay.
And then this Tower 6 had 8 stories.
Yeah, 6'8". Yeah. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah. And then you know that Fresh Kills landfill?
Yeah, where they took everything.
Yeah, but they closed it just before on March 22nd, 322.
That's right. Yep.
And I think that part rounds off the joke with the Templars and the ossuary.
Yeah.
Ossuary being 911.
Yep. I would.
And
agree.
then I don't know if you ever how much you looked into the Hebrew gematria, but I noticed that the Hebrew word for authority. I'll send you it. I'll text you it.
Okay.
But the Hebrew word for authority equals 911.
It makes sense. Good one.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
great research.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, take care.
Have a good one.
We had a couple more people trying to get in. You guys got to be real quick because I actually need to be running out the door right now, but there were 2 people trying to get in. So if you guys want to call in right now while the line is open, got to be quick. Gaza on brink of full-scale famine as Israel blocks aid, launches attacks. I mean, this whole thing's been like this for years. Like, oh, on the verge of a ceasefire, on the verge of a peace agreement. And then next thing you know, boom. 856.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, just wanted to fire a few things out. You always appreciate your work, Zach. I've been following you for quite some time, all the way back in 2019 when Tisha Bisha was happening. Then we had Golden Gate Bridge predictions and all these things. Thank God nothing like that happened. But I did realize there was something crazy if you ever looked into it. It's actually in 1492, back in the BC era, that was the plagues of Egypt, Moses and whatever God had brought down with 10 plagues. And then in 1492 Common Era, there's actually some historians that believe that Christopher Columbus, before the Columbian Exchange, which is the same kind of thing of bringing old world pathogens, biochemical warfare, is never thought of like in the medieval times. But John Dee in 1600 had alchemy and basically a first CIA agent for Queen Elizabeth I. So it all breaks down to basically that's a permutation of 1942. So you look at 1492. And then that's when the Japanese, basically, I never thought of it like this. Somebody said, I know you got to go, you said 10 minutes, but the trade-off of dropping the atomic bomb right around that time, there was this thing called Unit 731, and 300,000 people died. Nobody ever got persecuted. Because probably something like Operation Paperclip, where we, traded intelligences. And anyway, there's maybe even pathogen or pandemic connections in 1924, which is another permutation. And to get it to the point of 77, because my boy said 77, it's 77 years from 1942. They actually call them plague bombs in that Japanese thing with the Chinese, and of course the pandemic came from China. They actually have 77 years from 1940 to 2019. So that was pretty crazy because I know what my man was saying about the Pentagon and the 77 connections, but I've just been kind of losing my mind because 1942 is also 83 years from 2025, and Tisha Bob this year is 83. So I know it's some fringe connections to BC era and AD era. Just contemplate that though, like 1492, there's a scripture, I have it on an Instagram post, and then 1492, Columbus delayed, because he had the bad curse of Tisha Bob, but he brought the curse anyway, you know what I mean? And that's called, Columbian Exchange, and, that's smallpox, measles, basically spread into medieval times, connecting to today. So I don't know.
All right. Interesting. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Hey, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks. All right. He wasn't one of the two callers who were calling earlier. 502, and I believe the other carrier code was 696. If you guys want to call in real quick, I do need to go, but you guys were trying to get in. I'm trying to give you a chance to get it in. So we got different people calling now. It's 772.
I found a pretty big find. I just posted on Free to Find Truth, the Freemason from one of the Freemason websites, like the official. And they were talking about how 33 and 47 are significant to them.
Well, how's that a significant find? I mean, yeah, I know it's on their websites that 33 and 47 are significant.
Because they admitted, and all these idiots are
They've
like,
always
all these idiots, they don't care about numbers.
Again, Sebastian, sometimes your calls are just like, yeah, the stuff's all over their websites. It's not a secret, 33 and 47. They have all kind. I mean, how many screenshots do I have from the Freemason website on my own website educating about what it means to them? I mean, come on, man.
Well, also yesterday I left a comment, and it got in the top, and then YouTube deleted it. But it was yesterday, like all of Twitter, a lot of huge accounts that were getting millions of views. They were talking about 33 and the what happened yesterday. And you know, I was posting like a ton of stuff to them, but you know, if you get on there, I mean, you're gonna get views again. I mean, that's why they deleted you from there. You're getting 5,000 viewers. You've got to get back on there and live stream.
In the email I got, it says I'm not, and the email I got, it says I cannot come back on the platform. So I'm pretty sure if I verify my account that I can't come back on. The email specifies that I will be terminated. I'm not welcome on the platform.
Even if you use somebody else's info to do that?
Well, I suppose that's an idea, but yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, it's that they deleted you off of there because you're getting views on there on YouTube. I mean, it's like you're super censored and you're barely getting any views, you know? Right. That's like the new platform is Rumble and Twitter. Those are like the new thing where everybody's at now.
Yeah, yeah.
And also there's not that much competition. There's not a lot of competition on there. It's just like a couple of Republican people and that's basically it, you know, and like nobody really has like any like good information.
I'll try the Rumble thing again. I've been meaning to do it. So yeah, I'll get that figured out. All right, man.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have.
Right, yeah. Take care. All right. Sorry, other two people. I tried to hold up them for you instead of other people called in. I do got to go get Sweet Girl. So thanks again to everyone who hit the like and the share. Thank you for the $9 we raised during the stream. Shout out to the Beth Rosman, Leper Messiah, and Carrie Barnes. I appreciate it. All right. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Have a good rest of your day. And if anything crazy happens for the end of the day, I'll find a way to come back again like we did last night. But that's all for now. Till next time.